You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is July 11th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Cemetery Trustees. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accessLaPorteCounty.org.
Trustees, Thursday, July 11th, 2024. We need a call to order. We did this, and now we're doing the roll call.
Davis Bush.
Here.
Renee Bauer.
Here.
Bernadette Demke. Here. Stephen Janis.
Here.
Vera Gaston. Pastor Carol.
Here.
And Kat Hoches.
We have a quorum. Approval of minutes from last meeting. Need a motion?
I so approve the minutes from last meeting. Renee Bauer.
Okay.
Second.
Excellent. I will vote on that. All those in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll put back to the fine gentleman in the back there from Horizon with the financial report.
Thank you. As we typically do, let's start at the top of the summary with the permanent maintenance Greenwood account. The account was up 0.28% for the month, and it is up 1.61% year to date. The next account is the permanent maintenance Swan Lake account. That account was up 0.31% for the month and 1.77% year to date. With respect to the extension fund, the account was up 0.30% for the month and 1.73% year to date. And finally, in the merchandise and commissions fund account, the account was up 0.40% for the month and is up 2.10% year to date. Turning to page 2. Account details with regard to the permanent maintenance Greenwood account. The money market is currently yielding 5.24%, which is up from last month's yield of 5.21%. The mutual funds overall yield is at 3.31%, which is up from last month's yield of 3.29%. And the overall yield in the account is at 3.57%, which is down from last month's yield of 3.89%. Moving to page 3, the permanent maintenance Swan Lake account. The mutual funds overall yield is at 3.41%, which is up from last month's yield of 3.38%. The overall yield is at 4.12%, which is down from last month's yield of 4.25%. With regard to the extension fund on page 4, mutual funds overall yield is at 3.43%, which is up from last month's yield of 3.41%. And the overall yield in the account is at 3.86%, which is down from last month's yield of 4.17%. Finally, page 5.
You too. See, I've got different numbers on my sheet.
On everything, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. On page 3 and 4. Did everybody else have it on their copy?
Yeah, I couldn't follow. I didn't know whether it was me or...
On page 3, my total account was 4.29%.
Well, and so it is. That was it. You're right. My mistake.
That's okay.
My mistake. Okay, so I will go back and say with regard to page 3, Swan Lake, the overall yield is 4.29, which is up from last month's yield of 4.25. And with regard to page 4, the extension fund, the overall yield is at 4.22, which is again up from last month's yield of 4.17. Not sure why that
I
didn't
didn't
translate
mention
to my
it.
sheet. I apologize.
It's okay.
Okay, finally, with regard to the last account, the merchandise fund, the mutual funds yield is at 3.51%, which is up from last month's yield of 3.38%. And the overall yield in the account is at 4.83%, which is up from last month's yield of 4.81%. And again, my apologies for the misprint on my
It's okay.
document. And given that the colleague of mine who typically attends these meetings, Brad, is on vacation this week, I have some notes with regard to the overall market performance, if you're interested in hearing those from those notes. Okay. In the latest Fed minutes from their June meeting, they noted that progress in reducing inflation has been slower this year than they had expected last December. The Fed emphasized that they did not expect that it would be appropriate to lower the Fed funds rate until additional information had emerged to give them greater confidence that inflation was moving sustainably toward the committee's 2% objective. And this continues to be their message. The latest data from the Department of Labor shows a modest cooling of the labor market as the unemployment rate rose to 4.1% last week. U.S. non-farm payrolls grew by 206,000 in June, but the growth was narrow, and the majority of new jobs being in healthcare and the government fields. Another bright spot was construction, which gained 27,000 jobs. All of this data supports that there's a strong likelihood that the Fed rate cut, if it occurs, will occur during their September meeting.
Excellent. We get a motion and a second for accepting the financial report today.
I make a motion to accept the financial report.
I'll second that. Bernadette Dimke.
We'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Run up to our bills as presented for payment. Everybody should have a copy, and I hope you've reviewed it.
Okay, one.
Is it different? I printed
It's
off.
like that. Yeah, that's
I think it's what I printed off.
okay.
Thank you.
Give you a moment or two to go through this if you need to. Any questions or comments?
Not for me.
Okay. And we'll vote on accepting this as presented, and we'll need a motion and a second.
I make a motion to accept the bills. Renee Mauer.
Okay. I'm going to say vote for all in favor of accepting the bills presented for payment today. Yea or nay?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this motion carries, and we will accept the bills as presented for payment. Now we move on to the superintendent's report.
All right, so this is going to be short today because we have a presentation to put on for the software purchase, so I'll make this as short as I can. In June, the burials, we had 3 ash, 1 full, 1 entombment, for a total of 5 at Greenwood. And at Swan Lake, we had 2 ash, 5 full burials for a total of 7. And they gave us 12 for the month, which was kind of light compared to what we're normally used to seeing. So that's just to give you a reference on how we're looking for June, where we're significantly down from the usual amount of burials that we do. The big thing we had this month, or I should say last month, June, everything was breaking last month. So the biggest thing we had break was our irrigation system here at Swan Lake. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, there was a very large pump, and it was housed in this green shed, and it was right outside the door here. That irrigation system, and the pump in there not only feeds the irrigation system out in the cemetery, but it also feeds the pond. So we need to get that fixed as soon as possible because the pond is scumming over and we want to keep it clean for the swans. So we had to do an emergency repair on it. We had Clearwater Well and Pump come out and repair it. The pump that runs the water for the office is also housed in that. There's 2 separate wells in that shed. So they had to repump or replumb everything in there. So everything's been repaired. Unfortunately, in order to get the old pump out, the old pump was very old, but it was a very large irrigation pump. So they had to bring a crane in here and lift the whole pump out. It ran about 60 foot into the ground. So in order to do that, we had to take our shed off, and the shed was falling apart anywhere. As you can see in the lower right picture, there were holes in it. It was infested with mice. So we lifted that off. So now that everything's fixed in there, we're in the process of building a new shed. So the total for that, and you probably saw it on the bills to be paid for last month, we paid $9,219 for the well work, and we're also paying, I believe, about $1,600 for the shed, the new shed that goes on. And we're building the shed ourselves, we're in the process of that now. So. And the other thing that broke was the air conditioning in this building. There's 2 air conditioning units in here. One of them completely quit working, and then the other one is only working at about 40%. That's why it's kind of stuffy in here right now. So we got approval from the controller's office to make an emergency purchase on that because they can't fix it because it's so old, so we have to put a new system in. So I don't have the exact bill on that. Or did we?
That's with you.
No. Yeah. So I think, yeah, it was around $9,000 to put a new system in here. So we just got approval for that money today. So we'll be calling the contractor to get that repaired. So those were both unexpected.
Who's doing the work
breakdowns
for the air conditioning?
HG Plumbing. They did our plumbing repair out here a couple months ago. So the major item I have today is the software program. We want to get that presented to you and approved as soon as possible because it's going to be a lengthy process for them to build the system for us. And that the money that we're going to use to purchase the software system is going to be the ARPA money that we got from the city council. So we want to make sure we get that spent this year so it doesn't revert back to the city for other uses. And like I said at the last meeting, we've been very fortunate this summer to have an intern with us, Isabella, as part of her project for the summer. Her duty or job was to come up with a presentation, and it's not only for the board, but it's also for us, the mayor, for anybody who wants to look at this to see what we're going to purchase for the cemetery. It compares all three of the vendors that we sought quotes from, and it explains what each one provides, and hopefully you'll agree with our recommendation. We spent months, I'd say, about 4 months now, 4 or 5 months, looking at systems and comparing them and getting quotes. So we wanted to do our due diligence to make sure we're getting the system we want and the system we paid for, because we don't want to be here a year later saying, well, we need money for a new system because this wasn't what we thought it was. So we put a lot of effort into this. And I want to thank Isabella again for all the hard work she put in on this. So we solicited quotes from 3 companies: SemSites, Semify, and Plotbox. There's numerous companies out there. These seem to be the most popular ones and most suited to what we were looking for. The purpose of the cemetery software, number one, it's for plot management, so that we can manage all of the occupied and unoccupied plots that we have out here. And you'll see in the presentation here that once we get the system up and running, we'll know exactly how many spots or how many plots, burial plots we have left. So we'll always have an idea for future plannings to know, hey, we're getting low on space out here, we might need to expand or purchase more land or whatever. But right now, it's hard to determine that because there's nothing in writing as far as how many we have left. So the second would be to track interments, and that would be for the burial records, record keeping, and the public access to the burials, which we thought was a very, very important component to this whole system, because we want to make it easy for the public to access burial records, so that obviously we're not open 24/7, so if family members come in for a weekend or holidays and we're not open, they can go online and find the burial spots. First company, SemSites, and I'll just be transparent with you, so wait till the end here. SemSites is the company we were most impressed with. SemSites and Plotbox are very comparable, and they both offer very nice systems. It was a difficult decision, but when it came down to it, I think the customer service, because we were making weekly phone calls. Yeah, we were making weekly phone calls with representatives from a couple of these companies, and SemSites was the most responsive in answering our questions. So, SemSites offers a finance module, and that will allow us to print out bills, and everything will be computerized so that when Roxanne sells a burial plot, granite, whatever we're selling, all the prices will be in there, so she doesn't have to look them up. We don't have to guess what they are. She'll be able to print out a bill pretty quick, and it'll just make the whole process quicker. The inventory manager, that'll allow us to, again, track how many occupied plots we have, how many vacant plots we have left. Just some of the other ones up here. Probably the most important one, I think, would be the Keepsafe Family Legacies, and that's the module that allows us to allow the public to post photos and obituaries for their loved ones for each burial. Grave mapping, that's also another very important feature. The grave mapping isn't only for the public, it's also for us too, and you'll see later on here that for Roxanne's purposes and Denise over at Greenwood, instead of looking up our big 2 by 3 foot paper maps, they'll be able to pull up a map of the entire cemetery, and it'll show us exactly which plots it'll be color coded, so it'll show us which plots are occupied, which plots are vacant. And that comes in handy because a lot of people will come in here and they may have family members that are already buried here, and they want to say that they'll come in and ask to be buried as close as possible to their loved ones. And when that happens, we'll be able to go on here, pull up their loved one's burial plot, and we'll be able to see all the vacant plots around that family member, so that the public can actually have an easier time picking where they want to be buried. Another feature of SemSites is that they allow a secure site for the storage. They use Amazon Web Services as their cloud storage system, so nothing's stored here on a hard drive, nothing's stored at City Hall or anywhere else like that. It's all stored on Amazon Web Services, which is obviously a very secure database. And then it's one less expense for us. We don't have to maintain a hard drive for it. So. As I stated to begin with, they have a very robust and very responsive customer service team. They were constantly answering the phone and answering our questions. They would call us if they didn't hear from us for a couple weeks asking us how it was going, how the process was going. So just very happy with their customer response. If we have problems with this system, they have an emergency hotline that's manned 24/7 all year. So if something comes up after business hours for them and we're here and we need a question answered, we can get that answered any time of the day. They also do the software training for us. They maintain the system, like say the hard drives where all this is stored. The price for their system is $49,000, and we negotiated that price down quite a bit from what they were asking for. How this works is they offer a very basic system, and then they offer different modules for if we want different features, so that we don't have to buy features that we don't want. But there were a lot of features that we wanted that weren't included in their base price that would have brought the cost up over $50,000, but we negotiated those prices down. Obviously, if we keep this under a certain amount, we don't have to bid this out. We can just go with quotes. And that was kind of what we were looking for too. Again, some of the modules that they threw in for free, they gave us the core AR finance module, and again, that's the module that allows us to do the billing for the public, and that's a $4,000 option that they threw in for free. Core data migration, and what that is if we have any records already computerized that need to be switched over into the system, which we didn't, but we've had Isabel now for most of the summer, and she spent a lot of time the last few weeks. This company specifically gave us a spreadsheet for us to start entering the information so that we would kind of get a jump on. And this spreadsheet would be, it's available if we would have chosen another software company too, so it's kind of generic, but at least we have a good start on entering some of this information. So that would have been $5,000 to integrate all that into this new system. They're doing that for free. Document automation, that's, for example, the deeds that Roxanne has to type up for each one of the full burial plots out here. They will create an electronic version of that and enter it into the system so that we're not using paper deeds anymore. And then the AR, the finance license, which was $2,400, they're throwing into. Some of the unique features that they have that other ones don't, they have a visual lot viewer, and you'll see this in another slide, and that'll help Roxanne pull up plots and see who's buried next to who. So again, it'll make it easier for us to find open plots for family members to bury family members next to loved ones. So I threw in here, or I should say, Isabel threw in here a couple examples of municipalities that are currently using this software system. One of them is the town of Clayton. And there's a link here. I'll go to the link first.
Did you talk to anyone in that town?
Yes, they gave us a list of references, and we called all of them, and they all offered good reviews of the system.
Has the city IT person had any hand in this?
So after the board approves whichever one you decide on, I talked to Mr. Atanik, the city's IT director, yesterday at another meeting, and he agreed to sit down and look at the system that we want to go with to make sure it's compatible. He doesn't see an issue where it wouldn't, because pretty much what will happen is there will be a link embedded in the city's website, and then, like, for example, you go to the eMichigan City website, and just for everyone's future reference, the city's about, I think, 5 or 6 weeks away from launching a new website. It'll have a whole new domain. But the current one, eMichigan City, if you go to the cemetery website, there will be a link embedded on there, and you'll click on the link, and that'll direct you to the search engine for e-burying.
The upfront cost, the 49,000 approximately, now after that's would be paid, is there a monthly fee then?
Yeah, and I'll explain that. There's an annual fee and then an upfront fee for this. So this is the town of Clayton, North Carolina, and they have the same system we do. It can be designed in a number of different ways. This is the design they chose, where you click into their city's or the town's website, and then you get this link directing you to the burial or the cemetery page. You'll enter the person you're looking for, and for example, type in a name, Jones, and then you can scroll. You see there's a number of different pages, a lot of Jones there. You'll click on whichever one you're interested in. It'll bring up a map of the cemetery, and it'll show you where they're buried at. You can either use the I guess animated version here, or you can use the actual satellite version. And then, so on this system, since we're doing it online on the computer here, it doesn't give you a walk to grave directions, because obviously you're not going to take your laptop into the cemetery and walk. So back here.
So that's what walk to site means.
So I hope this works. We worked this morning on getting this to work right.
It's the next example that gives the walk to directions.
Okay, I was going to try to quickly on the phone. So this is my cell phone right here. I got a link to the screen here. So if you're walking in the cemetery and you want to find directions to a loved one's or a friend's grave site, what you would do is you would take your camera on your phone and you would scan, and this would be on a sign at the front of the cemetery, so anybody walking into the cemetery would be able to scan this.
Nice.
Click on that, and it'll take you directly to the mobile version of the website, and you would actually scroll through. You enter the person's name that you're looking for. So, for example, if we're looking for Bernice Jones, you can click on the Zoom. Isn't we're having issues before, and it's not the software, it's the third-party app we're trying to use to connect this to the screen, which isn't working. So apparently there's a lag here, so it's not letting me click on the third link that we need to, but this would actually give us walking directions. So once we get into the cemetery, it would actually give us directions, and the directions take you right to the grave. I mean, there's no question, unless there's no headstone, which would be an issue if there's no marker there telling you which grave it's in. But if there's a headstone there or a flat marker, depending on which cemetery it is, it would take us directly to that grave site. And I'll show you an example here in a minute. This is another example of one of SEM sites, one of the municipalities that they designed. And the nice one about this has the keepsake module where the public can actually send in obituaries and photos. So as you'll see here, and the nice thing about this too is the system, when you first pull up the homepage, we can actually enter like everybody that's been entered recently. You'll be able to look up, so if somebody's just looking up a family friend or whatever that they saw in the paper, it'll pop up here and you can put in the time of the burial if they haven't been buried yet. So burial notices can be entered in here. Like say recent burials. So if you want to search for someone, you would click on there and it's the same concept. You would find the name of the person you're looking for. So here's the nice feature that we were interested in. This is the keepsake module. So for example, this family apparently took a picture of the headstone. So this headstone is kind of the cover photo for this person's page. It could also be like a picture of the person themselves or a family photo that they wanted up there, but you would see any photos that the public wants to post. Of course, when that happens, if a family member wants to post an obituary or a photo, they would submit it to us first so that would be able to review it so people aren't posting negative stuff on here. So nothing goes on here unless it's approved by us first. So.
Did I see there's a fee for that?
There can be. So we're paying for it in our contract here.
Right.
We could turn around and charge the public for that, or we can allow or just do it for the public for free. So that'd be a future decision for the board whether we wanted to try to recoup some of our money by charging the public or just do it for free. So, but again, this would have all the information, date of birth, the date of death. Here, the full obituary is posted for that person. And then since we're not, again, this isn't the mobile site here, this is the laptop site, you can actually put in, so let's say we're starting from Swan Lake. It'll bring up an aerial view, and then I think they're located in Alaska, is that correct?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be quite a walk from Michigan City, Indiana, but it gives you the map to take, and then it also gives you turn-by-turn directions. So, and then obviously most people aren't going to use that because they're going to be local and they're going to know how to get to the cemetery. So they'll be using the mobile app where they can actually hit the button and it gives them walking directions. And it's not just walking directions, it'll actually guide you in real time. It'll show your location by GPS and it'll show you a map and a line, and you just follow that line to the gravesite.
So if somebody did not have a headstone yet,
It will take
they
you.
would still be able to.
Yeah, it'll take you to the location. It's just when you arrive there, you're not exactly
Right.
sure where in the ground it's
Sure.
buried at.
Okay.
But again, we can post the original photo that will be like the header for that person's page here. And then they can also post additional photos down in this section here and post additional family photos. And then this would could all be done online. They would just hit the upload button here, upload their photos. Their photos would come to either Roxanne or Denise, and then they would approve which photos could be posted on here. And again, the code here, you can scan it, and again, that gives you access to the mobile app. So here's a demonstration of how the mobile app works. I was hoping to do this in live, but this is actually a video of it being used.
Alright, I am going to look for my aunt. I know she's in the cemetery, but I'm not sure where she is. So I'm going to type in her last name and see if I can find where she is buried. Okay, here's her name. And I'm going to hit walking directions. And it should take me right there. So, let's get started. Let it load. Okay. Well, that's pretty easy. I'm gonna go this way. It's really cool because the arrow is telling me when I'm facing the wrong way, so it makes it very easy to use. Let's see. See if I can cut through to make it faster. Okay, and yeah, it was incredibly easy because here we are already, and as you can see, we're right on the right dot.
So again, like I say, Roxanne can attest to this. We get maybe half dozen people come into Swan Lake, I know, and probably Greenwood too, asking for help, for us to help locate one of their family members' graves. And so when that happens, Roxanne usually calls one of the guys, either the foreman or his assistant out in the cemetery, and they have to go out there and help the family member find it. And even for them, it's not that easy because you have to find the pins, and then you have to walk off the distance. It's not a real easy process where this, even if the person doesn't have a phone, at least one of us can get on our phone and help them find it a lot faster. So.
All right.
So this is the tool that Roxanne and Denise would see. And again, this would be like an aerial view, and all those colors mean different things. Occupied, purchased, or vacant and available for purchase. So it'd make it a lot easier for them to actually help the public find a burial site for their loved one. And then this is also something that Roxanne and Denise would also use too. This, the way our cemeteries are configured, there's a pin or a lot number for each area, and then within that there's
A, B, C, and D, and then 4 graves.
Yeah, there's 4 graves to each area there. So then it would show us who's buried all around in the area, depending if we were looking for an open plot for someone. So this is all, these two things that the 2 slides I showed you are unique to SEM sites. So the internal benefits of SEM sites would be accurate record keeping, up-to-date plot information, enhanced visualization of the cemetery layout, quick access to lot data, streamlined plot assignment and tracking processes. Again, the centralized repository for family records such as obituaries, photos, enhanced preservation of data, and that's a big thing no matter which one we go with, to have a computerized system where everything's stored at a very secure off-site cloud location. Because right now, if we had a fire in this building and destroyed this building, 100 years worth of burial records are gone, and we'd be scrambling to try to find how to replace those. Again, the walk to site, which is not unique to this company, but as you see in the next company that we looked at, they don't offer the walk to site directions and accurate location services. Externally, for the public, again, they have the ability to post obituaries, photos. It'd be a lot easier for them to find grave sites of loved ones without having to track one of us down off hours. A clear view of the cemetery. I believe it facilitates online viewing of available plots so that they can actually go online and see which plots are available to. Again, the legacy information guides visitors to the grave sites. And again, when we spoke with all three companies, we wanted to make sure that they were compatible with a kiosk system, because that's one of the things the mayor was looking at. And that's another reason we want to go with SEM-sites, is because the other two that we looked at, they're not compatible with the kiosk system. So in the future, if we want to purchase a kiosk for Greenwood and close that office, or have the ability for people to find loved ones when the office is closed, we would have a kiosk there, and this system would integrate with that, so that we would have to buy a whole new system, where the other two, Plotbox and Semify, don't have that ability. The second company we looked at was Semify. They offer digital mapping, pretty much the same thing that SEM-sites does, but I can tell you the things that they don't offer the public side of this, to include the posting of obituaries or photos. That's not available on this, so we wouldn't be able to post that for them. They wouldn't be able to post that themselves. And this doesn't offer walk to site directions either, so this wouldn't be of much value to the public, because it's not going to provide them directions. They'll see an aerial view of the plot they're looking for when they're at home, but when they get to the cemetery, they're kind of on their own to try to find that plot. So. One of the pros, they had really good reviews online about their services, but again, one thing about this company, they're geared towards smaller cemeteries. In the overall scheme, when I talked to these companies, we're considered kind of a mid to large size cemetery because of the acreage and the amount of burials we have, especially at Greenwood. So this doesn't seem like the right fit for us, because it doesn't offer all the amenities that the other two offer, and it seems like it's geared more towards smaller cemeteries. Their upfront cost was $37,969. The annual fee for this was $999, and then if we ever expanded the cemeteries and created more lots, it'd be $1,000 a year. And I believe that was dependent on how many we created, so it could go up after that. So again, it's cheaper, but it doesn't offer the amount of services that SEM-sites does. Again, I'll just show you an example of theirs. It's very basic, as you'll see. Just put in the name of someone you're looking for. And again, this is what you would get. You would get an aerial view with a pin above the area that you're looking for, but again, not really any directions on how to get there. And again, these are just some of the benefits internally and externally. Again, they pretty much offer the same things that SEM-sites does, just not everything. And the final software company we looked at was Plotbox. They're a large company. They offer pretty much everything that SEM-sites does, just in different packages, so the pricing is a little different. Their Ever After Plus, that's comparable to the Keepsake module that SEM-sites offers, as far as allowing the public to post photos and obituaries. And again, you can generate records, deeds off this, contracts, They had very good reviews on their company too, which again made it difficult for us to decide which company we wanted. It's just I think the edge came in at customer service, which made us decide to recommend SemSites. And again, they originated in Ireland, I believe. They do have an office in Boston, but their main base is in Ireland. But they assured us that they have a robust customer service system in the United States. But again, SemSites is based in Pennsylvania, I believe, so they're 100% U.S.
Did you try contacting either this or the previous one?
As far as
questions?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
They answered, and I don't want to speak badly of them, but they weren't as fast as answering our questions as SemSites was. And again, their upfront cost is $55,000. That includes the fee for all of their services plus the first year annual fee, which is $5,400 for the system, and then the Ever After module, which is the obituaries, photos, posting. That's an additional $1,360 a year. They did offer us to keep this under the $50,000 threshold. They offered us the opportunity to build this out in, I believe, a 5-year contract. So the cost of $55,000 would be divided into 5 years, so we would pay off a portion every year. So it's comparable in cost. It's what, $6,000 or $7,000 more than SemSites, but it is a really nice system. Offers pretty much the same things that SemSites do. One of the things that I liked about this system was SemSites uses online mapping. So I don't know if it's Google Maps or online maps like that are already generated by other companies. This company actually brings in a team of drone operators, and they'll fly every inch of both of our cemeteries, so we actually have very detailed images of the land and all of the headstones and all the open areas. So that was one of the benefits to this, but SemSites assured us, and I spoke with a few customers of SemSites, that their maps are accurate. So and SemSites also offered us the opportunity to, they could do drone mapping too. It's just, it would be significantly more cost. So. And this is an example of Plotbox. You would just put in the person's name. Again, the same thing. They have multiple cemeteries at this particular municipality, so you would just go to whichever cemetery you were looking for.
If you go back, click the Discover Ever After link on the previous page. Yes, yes, over.
Again, this is pretty much the same concept as SemSites. and they offer the mapping, and they offer walk to site and also the drive to site feature too. Again, like I say, it's obviously this board's decision which company you want to go with. Plotbox and SimSites are very comparable. I just thought for the money, the SimSites provided us the best value because they were willing to offer us a number of modules for free, which we would have had to pay for. And again, this just lists some of the benefits internally and externally for the public. So this is a price comparison again of all three companies we looked at. SimSites comes in at $49,000, Simify at $37,969, and Plotbox at $55,909 with the option of financing over 5 years. Again, towards the right of the screen, you'll see SimSites is the only one that guaranteed us that this system would work with the kiosk system if we eventually wanted to purchase a kiosk for either one of our cemeteries. They're all cloud-based, so again, we don't have to worry about losing our records. They all offer GIS mapping. The only exception would be that SimSites and Plotbox offer walk to the burial site. Isabella, do you So again, the money for this has already been approved by the city council. It's going to come out of the ARPA funding, so that's why we're trying to get it done as soon as possible so we can get that ARPA money spent so it doesn't revert back to the city to be spent for other purposes. So I would be recommending SimSites or any of these companies if I wasn't sure that we did our due diligence. So I can't guarantee you a year from now we won't come back and say, man, we screwed up, but if we do, I'm not going to feel guilty because I think we spent a certain amount of time and effort determining which one would best suit us. So.
Okay, we have a choice. I'll need a recommendation.
I'll recommend that we purchase. Is that the software recommended by our superintendent, which would be the SimSites software?
Any other recommendations?
Second it.
Any questions? Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. We can vote. All those in favor of accepting SimSites as our choice for computer software?
Aye.
Aye.
Any negative? Motion carries. Money is available, and we'll proceed.
So I believe Isabella is done with us at the end of this month, so she may not be here next month. We're going to work with her. Isabella's interested in continuing until school starts because the internship program ends end of July, but you don't go back to school until
August 19th.
August 19th. So again, SimSites already set us up with the spreadsheet, so that's what Isabella's been working on every day as far as entering burial records into that. So we're hopefully going to keep her on, we'll be able to keep her on as an intern because that program, the funding for that is going to expire at the end of this month, I believe. So we're probably going to end up hiring her as a seasonal until she goes back to school so that she can continue entering the burial records, and then she's expressed interest in coming back next year. If the internship program's not available, hopefully we can hire her back as a seasonal next summer.
How long do you, Isabella, it will take to enter the information?
Years, yeah, because we're looking at just at Greenwood, over 40,000 burials are there right now at Greenwood, so that's what we actually sat down, did a Zoom meeting with SimSites a few months ago. I think Roxanne was at that meeting. It may, it can only take a couple minutes to enter a pre-existing burial, especially the older ones, because there's not a lot of information available. Just usually just like a birth date, sometimes not even a birth date, just a burial date and a name. So it only takes a matter of minutes to enter each one of those. But when you're talking about 40,000 people, two people to do it, it's going to be.
Are you starting with the most recent?
Yeah, we'll start entering burials as they come in, and then I'm not sure how Isabella, if you can do that alphabetically.
Yeah, we would do MasterCard.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just have to move the names.
Okay. Oh, you're the
She's ready for the C's
But that's
now.
just one.
That just,
Yeah.
it's like that.
Because it's kind of useless until the information is entered, right?
Well, it'll be good for us, because like I say, there's a finance module in there where we can actually generate bills and deeds in that system, so we'll get the benefit of that. And then, honestly, a lot of the very old burials, we're probably not going to get a lot of inquiries on to begin with, so I guess we probably could do it by date, but that would be difficult because all the burial records we have, at least at Swan Lake here, are alphabetical. So it's the easiest way to enter it is alphabetically.
Do you have the records of burials prior to the city taking over?
Proximity.
Oh, here at Swan Lake?
Yeah.
We have the records since 1953, 1952 and 53. We go back that far. Now Greenwood is a totally different, we're talking 1800s.
Oh, yeah.
Here we're just in the 50s.
One thing I forgot to add that's important is the information that we enter into this software system is always ours. We own it, so if we ever decide to discontinue services with SEM sites, they can't hold our information hostage. We can take that information and go to another company if we want it.
Repeat again how much of an annual fee and upgrade fee for some sites?
It's 4,500. Is that the initial?
I saw it in the other two, not this one.
So our upfront cost is going to be $49,030, and that includes the first year's annual fee. So the annual fees are for the license itself for this system is $4,500, and then for the walk to site license is $750 a year, and then for the web hosting is $780. So about $6,000 a year. And that was comparable to the other ones, I believe, too.
So you pay for the license each year?
Correct. But again, with this, we're not signing a 3-year contract, so a year from now, if we're not happy, we can separate from them. Would suggest it, and we're putting an upfront cost of $50,000 in it, but it's not, we're not obligated to, $100,000 for a couple of years or whatever. So.
The other question I had was, it's a modular system. If another newer module comes out that we could actually use, we purchase that.
Yes, like I say, there's a number of different modules that we're not purchasing right now. There's a module that allows us to bill, to do billing. We don't do billing because we require payment upon sale. So.
Okay, very good. Well, we're on our way. Any old business? We're accepting this, guys.
Yes.
No further old business?
No, just like I say, with the unexpected breakdowns that we had last month, we kind of had to put other things on hold. I had intended on starting the Greenwood Mausoleum, repairing the landscaping around there that were approved last month. But considering that we had to spend a considerable amount of time with the irrigation system out here, that's probably going to have to wait until later this month to start. But
how is the skylight holding up?
Skylight, I have to call them again. I've called them a couple times. They assured me that they've taken delivery of the new glass. We're just waiting for them to schedule the work now. So, and I have to call them probably tomorrow, just because it's been a couple weeks since I heard from them. They still haven't scheduled it. I have a feeling that's going to be the case with most of the contractors that were contracted to do all the rest of the work. Everybody's just trying to schedule something in the middle of summer when most of the summer's already been scheduled by these companies. It's going to be difficult, but I still intend on trying to get all this work done before the end of the year so that we don't lose our ARPA money. So.
I have a old business note about green burials. We can't do anything with green burials at this moment as we're implementing into the system.
Well, we can always add it in there. And like I said at the last meeting, my recommendation would be the board assembles a committee to look at that. Number one, to determine if there's a need for natural burials in this city, in Michigan City. And if so, that needs to be incorporated in the larger master plan for the rest of Swan Lake. So that whichever committee you would form would probably be responsible for both of those tasks, as far as coming up with the master plan, and then if the green burials are determined that we need them, then that would be included in that master plan. So, and I believe, I'm pretty sure CAD and Mira would be receptive to being on that committee, so maybe we can reach out to them, and then I don't know if anybody here is interested in being in that committee too, so we can get things maybe going. Okay.
But not if you don't need three, you know.
I would say the more the better. It's going to be a large task. It's like I say, it's when you come to the master plan, we have all 18 or 20 acres out here that's still undeveloped that we have to come up with a plan.
And forgive me if this was covered already at a previous meeting. We open it all to pet cemetery?
That was discussed too, and again, that would have to be part of the master plan to figure out where we put that.
That could be
Right.
money maker if we have the property.
Do we have any new business?
That was it, wasn't it?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Okay, we got PowerPoint, and we really want to thank Isabel for all the work she's done so far.
Yes.
It's fabulous.
Yes.
Not to say that Roxanne and Jeff haven't
no,
done their
Isabel.
job.
Yeah, right.
Isabel
that.
is a great asset
Oh, good.
for Greenwood and out here at Swan Lake.
Excellent.
There's always holiday vacation time, you might want to earn a little.
Oh yeah, that's why she's going to apply in January for the seasonal job, and then she'll be filling in for us on vacations, and it will give her a little more for college, and I think it's going to work out real well.
Okay. Is there any other unfinished business we can recommend? If not, we'll make a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Voted?
I'll second.
Everybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we got it. Thanks. We're done.